Hey everyone! Welcome to The Young and the Restless. I'm Jane, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Young and the Restless, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. The Young and the Restless recap for Thursday, July 10th suggests that Lily Winters and Damian Kane will sleep together while Kane Ashby is furious. On the train, Lily will fantasize about kissing Damian until she opens her eyes and learns he has transformed into Kane. When Lily wakes up startled, she will wander through the maze and become lost again. Kane will notice Lily looking flustered on the CCTV feed in his office and will rush to help. Damian will locate Lily first, giving her the opportunity to say she wants something fresh and entice him into a kiss. Kane will notice the intense encounter and fume as Damian walks back to Lily's train car with her. Lily will persuade Damian to stay while they enjoy some flirting moments together. After Damian asks whether Lily is certain, she will confirm as they make out and prepare to hit the covers. Back at Kane's, he'll drink alone and smack the table with his fist. Kane will also remove a necklace chain that appears to have his old wedding ring on it, which he will fidget with while he seethes. On Thursday's edition of YNR, Chelsea Lawson will visit the Tack House to inform Victoria Newman on Adam Newman's vacation to Nice. Chelsea will be stunned when Victoria tells her that Cole Howard has died. Chelsea will do her best to console Victoria with the news and offer to be a sounding board if she needs one. Victoria will feel compelled to be strong for Claire Newman, but Chelsea will believe that suppressing her feelings is unhealthy. Victoria will eventually have a tantrum because she desperately wants Cole back and does not want to be alone. Chelsea will embrace Victoria and offer extra support before she leaves. Victoria will look at Cole's to-do list after Chelsea has departed. Victoria will also say farewell to Cole and assure him that she and Claire will be fine, so she hopes he can rest easy. Danny Romalotti will surprise Christine Blair at Society by renting out the entire space for their big evening together. After drinks and a toast, Danny will urge Christine to raise some surrounding lids, revealing some artifacts from their past. Christine will raise the last lid to reveal an engagement ring box after Christine and Danny go on a memory lane trip with flashbacks. Danny will get down on one knee and ask Christine to marry him, and she will say 1,000 times yes as they get formally engaged. According to The Young and the Restless spoilers, Christine and Danny will be planning their wedding soon, so stay tuned. The dull light from the bedside lamp projected a warm, golden tint throughout the room, just lighting the tangled sheets and discarded garments on the floor. The air was thick with the aroma of passion, a heady mix of perfume and sweat, as Lily and Damian lay wrapped in each other's arms, their bodies still humming from their forbidden contact. The world beyond the room appeared to sink into insignificance, and the weight of their decisions was temporarily forgotten in the cocoon of their shared desire. Lily's fingertips ran idle patterns across Damian's chest, her thoughts racing with contradictory emotions, guilt, ecstasy, dread, and an undeniable sense of rightness that she couldn't escape. Damian, for his part, held her tight, his breathing steady but his mind running as fast as hers. They had crossed a line tonight that could not be undone, and while neither of them dared to say it out, they both knew the implications of their actions would extend well beyond the walls of this room. The secrecy, the furtive looks, the lingering touches, it had all led up to this point, and now that they had taken the plunge, there was no going back. Lily's pulse hammered as she repeated the events of the evening in her head, the way Damian's hands felt on her skin, the way his lips took hers with a desire that mirrored her own, the way they moved together as if they were the only two people in the world. It had been heady, overwhelming, and completely seductive. But beneath the veil of pleasure, a niggling voice warned of the impending storm. Damian, ever perceptive, seems to detect her anxiety. He tightened his arms around her and kissed the top of her head. "We'll figure it out," he muttered, his voice low and soothing, but he couldn't completely hide the undertone of skepticism. Lily wanted to believe him, to hold out hope that they could deal with the fallout, but the reality of their predicament was overwhelming. She was married to Kane, a guy with a notoriously explosive temper, and Damian was no stranger to the wrath of people who felt betrayed. The notion of Kane's reaction sent shivers down her spine, and she sank further into Damien's arms, as if seeking refuge from the inevitable. Outside, the night was silent, interrupted only by the odd rustle of leaves in the wind. However, the peace was false, a transient mirage that would soon be dispelled. Kane, oblivious of what had happened between his wife and Damien, was on his way home, his mood deteriorating with each passing minute. The day had been long and difficult, full of failures and annoyances that left him fuming with barely restrained wrath. All he wanted was to return home, to the lady he loved, and to forget about his problems, if only for a few hours. But fate seemed to have other intentions. When he walked in the front door, the emptiness of the house struck him immediately. The silence was stifling, the air thick with an unspoken tension that made his jaws clench. "Lily," he shouted aloud, his voice booming through the halls, but there was no answer. His frown grew as he walked into the rooms, his instincts tingling with uneasiness. It wasn't like Lily to go out so late without informing him, and the lack of any letter or message further heightened his suspicions. His phone buzzed in his pocket, and he snatched it out with a fast, eager move, his gaze searching the screen. A SMS from an unknown number, a single image that chilled his blood. As he peered at the photograph, his mind struggled to understand what he was seeing. Lily and Damien were wrapped around each other, engrossed in an intimate moment with no possibility for misinterpretation. The betrayal struck him like a physical blow, a white-hot knife twisting in his gut, and before he could think, his fist clenched around the phone, the screen cracking from the power of his grip. Rage, pure and unadulterated, burst through him like a wildfire, devouring every ounce of reason and restraint. His vision clouded at the edges, and his breath came in short, ragged gasps as the image burned itself into his memory. How long was this going on? How many falsehoods did she tell him? How many times had she looked him in the eyes and pretended everything was normal while sneaking around with Damien? The questions tore through him, each one a new wound, and with a howl of rage, he tossed the phone across the room, the sound of shattered glass booming like a gunshot. There was no stopping the storm, no quiet the tempest that raged within him. He needed explanations, confrontation, and, most importantly, he needed to hold them accountable for their actions. His feet propelled him forward practically on their own, his movements quick and jerky, with hardly restrained violence. He wasn't sure where they were, but he would find them. He was willing to destroy the city if necessary. Back in the darkly lighted room, Lily and Damien were oblivious to the approaching hurricane. The warmth of the bed and the protection of each other's embrace had lulled them into a false feeling of security, and for a little while, they could believe that the outside world did not exist. But, as it usually did, time marched on, bringing with it the inevitable reckoning. The first indication of disaster was the sound of a door slamming in the distance, a harsh, jarring noise that made Lily tense in Damien's arms. Her breath caught in her throat as she tried to listen, and her heart quickened with an unexpected sense of fear. Damien noticed the change in her demeanor and sat up slightly, his brow furrowing. "What's wrong?" he inquired, his voice quiet. Lily shook her head, unable to express the horror that had taken root in her chest. "I don't know," she muttered. "Something feels off." And then they heard it, the distinct sound of heavy footsteps thundering down the corridor, becoming louder with each passing second. The room's door slammed open with such force that it crashed into the wall, and Kane stood there, framed in the doorway, his face a mask of pure, unmitigated wrath. His eyes fixed on them, the treachery and fury in his expression nearly evident. For a heartbeat, the room was stuck in time, the air dense with tension that suffocated you. Lily's stomach fell, her blood freezing as she met Kane's gaze, guilt and terror written plainly on her face. Damien, ever the protector, moved automatically, putting himself slightly in front of Lily, while knowing it would do little to calm the tempest that was about to explode. "Kane," Lily began, her voice shaking, but she didn't get any further. Kane's chuckle cut her off, a harsh, mirthless sound that sent shivers down her spine. "Don't," he spat, his words laced with malice. Do not even bother to explain. I witnessed everything. I know everything. His hands squeezed into fists at his sides, and his entire body trembled from the strain of keeping himself back. The need to lash out, to harm them as they had injured him, was almost overwhelming, but a small, stubborn part of him held on to the last vestiges of control. Damien, feeling danger, kept his speech cool, despite his rushing heart. Listen to me, Kane. This isn't as you think. Shut up. Kane shouted, his voice cracking with wrath. Do you think I don't know what this is? You think I am stupid? His eyes shifted between them, the treachery becoming deeper with each passing second. How long? He questioned, his voice lowering to a menacing whisper. How long has this been going on behind my back? Lily opened her mouth to reply, but nothing came out. What could she possibly say to make things better? Would that relieve the agony she had caused? The quiet between them was thick and stifling until Kane let out a sour laugh. That's what I thought. The room appeared to shrink around them, with the walls closing in as the tension neared a breaking point. Kane took a step forward, his movements unhurried, his gaze never leaving them. You're both dead to me, he murmured, his voice unnaturally quiet now, but the undertone of rage was there. Have you heard me? Dead. With that, he turned on his heel and walked out, slamming the door behind him with such force that the walls rattled. The sound seemed to resonate eternally, a vivid reminder of the damage he left behind. Lily's legs gave out beneath her, and she collapsed on the floor, her body tortured with wordless sobbing. Damien was by her side in an instant, his arms wrapping around her, but his mere presence couldn't dispel the chill that had fallen in her chest. They were aware of the risks and the implications, yet they had allowed themselves to be caught up in the moment. They'd have to deal with the consequences now, and it was impossible to predict how far Kane's rage would go.